Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to talk about the medical examination in the UAE to become a cabin crew. Working as a cabin crew requires from you to one day wake up super early, the other day work all night, and it can be very irregular, it can be very draining and difficult, so it is very important to be of a good health and fit for the job. In the end, you are responsible not only for yourself but also for 100 passengers traveling with you. So today we're gonna dive into that subject. We're gonna discuss what's gonna happen during the medical examination and what you need to be prepared for. So let's go. So guys, if you want to become a cabin crew, you are required to carry a medical certificate with you on every single flight. It's just a small booklet in which you have a proof that you are fit to do the job, or if you have any restrictions, let's say your vision is not that good, it may be written down there that on duty you have to wear glasses. You just have to carry it with you on every flight, and it's one of those required documents by the company, so if you don't have it, you basically cannot fly. For cabin crew, you are required to have a class 2 medical certificate, and for pilots, if you want to know, it's class 1. If you are a new joiner and you haven't been living in the UAE before, you will have to undergo 2 medical examinations. One is for the company that says you are fit for the job, the one we're talking about, and the other one is for the government. Both of them will be arranged for you by the company, so you don't have to stress about how to arrange with the government dates or where to go or how much to pay for it. It will be all done by the company. You just have to show up at this time, on this date, at this certain place, and usually you will go together with your badge, so in most cases you are never alone. So starting with the first one, government medical examination. It's basically just 2 tests. It usually doesn't take that much time. I think for me it was maybe 30 minutes that it took to have it done. You will have your blood test done and also a chest x-ray. It's just one of those things that they require to give you your Emirates ID and your residency. So once that is done, they will also take fingerprints, if I remember correctly, and that will be all for the residency visa. And the next medical examination will be done in the company medical center and will take much longer. And when I say much longer, it is such a long day, guys. In my case, it was done at the beginning of my training. I think it was week 1. And it was in between training days. So a day before we had training in the training academy, then medical examination, which took the whole day, and day after we had to go back to the training academy. So it can be a little bit draining because you also in the meantime have so much to study. So if you also have a similar layout of your training days, I advise you to take some books or something that you have to study for the next day, because you are going to sit long hours in that medical center and you'll be undergoing various tests throughout the day. It may sound scary, but it's not scary, so you don't have to be afraid of it, but it will be a bit draining and a bit boring for you. So just have something that you can keep yourself busy with during waiting times in between doctors, or while your batchmates are having the appointment and you basically just have to wait there for your turn. Before you attend the medical examination, usually a couple days before, you will have to fill out the pre-medical examination form. And in that form, it's quite long and you will have to answer their questions. Usually it's yes or no, or if you answer yes, you will have to provide dates or details, but basically in that form they're asking you if you had any of the most common diseases or disorders. So let's say, apart from stating your age, your weight and your height, They will also ask if you have any eye problems, if you have prescription, if you have color blindness, if you ever been anemic, if you ever suffer from depression, if you have any back issues, heart issues, basically anything. The list go on and on and on, so I will not mention all that is there, but basically they're asking about your medical history and anything that may be seen as an issue to perform your job in the future. Also, if you're coming from your home base to the UAE, you should have your medical booklet with you, and ideally just have it translated to English already. You know those books that our parents have with all the vaccinations and our medical history? So this is the book I'm talking about. It's gonna make your life much easier at the end of the day, because as a cabin crew you have to be vaccinated to so many things, and if you have been vaccinated before and have a proof of it, then you may avoid having that vaccination on a day again. So now let's start with all the tests. So the first one will be drug urine test and also a routine urine test. So if I remember correctly, those were two separate tests, so you basically had to pee twice. So don't be shy, drink a lot of water and have a bottle of water with you, because personally for me, if somebody asks me to pee on command for the medical examination, all of a sudden I don't need to pee for the next week. So I find it very difficult, especially if I have to do it twice. So yeah, just be mindful of that and just try to drink a lot of water to make it easier for yourself. When it comes to that test, there's not much to explain because it's pretty much self-explanatory, but one thing that they will ask you here is to write down all the medications that you've taken. I think it was the past 30 days. If you plan ahead and you know that you're coming and you will have that medical examinations, if you've been taking any medicines, just write them down, so when the doctor asks you, you can already provide the list. The next part of the medical examination is basically a visit to a doctor or a nurse, a couple of nurses, and they will test you for a few different things. So the first one will be checking your eyes and your vision. If you wear glasses, don't worry about it. You can wear glasses even at work, but for the day itself you cannot wear contact lenses, and it's not advised to wear the contact lenses for a couple of hours. I think it's 12 hours before the medical examination. If your sight is not that good or it's not perfect, it's not 100%, you don't have to worry about it. You can wear glasses at work. The only thing is that you will have to carry a spare pair of glasses. So if you know that you're wearing those glasses, you may already start looking for a spare pair if you only have one. And those can't be just any glasses. They will be the ones that company accepts according to the style and image policy. If you're not sure or if you don't want to risk it, don't buy the spare pair just yet. Just keep in mind that you may have that expense of buying an extra pair while coming to the UAE. And it is quite expensive at first because you're going through the training, you have a lot of expenses of moving to another country, and the salary at first is just a training salary, so it's good to know that if you do have to wear glasses, you need more than one pair with you at all times. So the next test that you will undergo is a hearing test. And depending on the company you're applying for, it may look slightly different. So the first airline that I worked for had the hearing test as well. It looked like those music studios, basically. You just sat there by yourself and you had a headset on. And the machine would produce those short beep sounds, but some were louder and some were more quiet. And then every time you would hear a beep, you had to press the button. So basically they would know which sounds you can hear and which one you can't. For Etihad, this test looked much different, and it was, in my personal opinion, it was less stressful because it was done manually, not by the machine. So it was basically a doctor checking your ears, having a conversation with you, and so on and so on. So I didn't really feel that stress about it. But there are days when I feel completely deaf, so hearing test is always something that stresses me out. I think that we all feel sometimes like that we are deaf or blind, but in the end it's not as bad as we think. After that I had 2 different checks. One was the oxygen saturation and the other was the check of my lungs. It was like a blood test from your fingertip, and for this one you cannot wear any nail polish or gels or anything like that. So if you're starting your training and you wanna look great and feel great and you just done your nails, you will have to have them removed. The next doctor you will see will be just having a one-to-one conversation with you. The doctor may also ask you if you have any fears regarding your health or about your well-being, or if you have any previous medical history of something. Let's say in my case, I had some back issues when I was a teenager, so my spine is not exactly straight, so we were talking about that. We were talking about possible exercises that I can do to make it easier for myself and to keep my lifestyle healthy and my back from getting worse. The last part of the medical examination, and it's probably already 6 or 7 hours that you've been sitting there, is the vaccinations part. So that's where the booklet comes very handy. The mandatory vaccines are hepatitis A and B, meningitis, MMR, yellow fever, and the COVID vaccination. If you have any of those vaccinations, then you will just save yourself from having it redone on that day. If you don't have those vaccinations, or if you don't have a proof of them, they will be redone on the day if they're available. Some side effects of being vaccinated can be quite tough, so you may have headache and so on. If you have time and you haven't been vaccinated for the vaccines, I think it's 6 vaccines that I've mentioned, then I would probably just go to my family doctor and have it done before coming to the UAE. These days definitely not that much fun. It's a bit boring, and like seriously, who likes going to the doctor? And if you have to go to multiple doctors in one day, it's not just the nicest thing. People of course are super nice and very helpful and try to make as pleasant as possible, but at the same time it's just going to a doctor. What's fun about that? Can you be cute instead of being loud? Yeah, you had your vaccinations done too recently. It's just a very long day full of waiting at the doctor for a doctor or having different checks done. Keep that in mind and have some food with you and have some water with you and so on. All those doctors were in random order. You may have a hearing test first, or you may have a urine test first. It doesn't really matter. Basically, you are divided into groups, and a first group goes to this doctor first, the second group goes to this doctor first, but all those tests will be done. So guys, the part that I was also stressed about was my BMI check. I knew that it's not gonna be perfect. I knew that I should gain some weight at this point, and I was on the right track to let's say acceptable weight. It wasn't anything shocking or surprisingly low, but at the same time I knew that my BMI is not perfect. You know, we all have those things that we stress about regarding our health, so just try to look at it as meeting people who don't want to fail you. They don't want to find a reason to not give you the job or to send you back home.
Now, sashay away.
They just want to make sure that you will remain healthy and that the job will not have any side effects on you. So if you stress about something like that, hearing test, eye test, or BMI as I did, just keep that in mind and know that before they will tell you no, please go home, they will try to find a way to help you get to where you have to be, while my dogs are destroying my house. So there have been a couple of things that I've seen online people keep asking for when it comes to medical examination. One is if it's okay if you drink alcohol and if you smoke. You can smoke and you can drink alcohol. On the form that you'll get before your medical examination, they will ask about the quantity of your drinking and your smoking. So another thing people are usually asking about are piercing and tattoos. Now, when it comes to piercing, you can't really have it. You can only have one earring in each ear. And when it comes to tattoos, I think I've already mentioned it, but there's this form that they provide you with where you have to mark your tattoos or any scars that you may have. And now if it's in this gray zone, then it's completely fine. You don't have to worry about it. You can have a whole back tattooed as long as it's not visible in the uniform. Another question I see often is whether you can have breast implants or any other implants in your body. Yes, you can, it's not an issue. I think the question comes because you do have to have that X-ray done, but the X-ray is for the government, it's not for the company itself. It's for your visa, not for your medical certificate. However, even if it was, there's a lot of cabin attendants flying with their breasts done, and it's completely no issue whatsoever. As long as you look presentable and you're not overdoing your surgeries, you can have things done. Let's say I had veneers done before joining, also not a problem, you can have your veneers done. So with that, I think I covered most of the most common questions, so I'm gonna finish. And just in case you have any additional questions, please let me know. And I hope this video helped you understand what's gonna happen during medical examination and made it maybe a little bit less stressful for you. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!